Hi guys, welcome to another maths lesson with A+ Tutoring. I'm Danuki, and today we're going to be looking at 5 Grade 5 NAPLAN-style word problems. If you haven't already, please check out the word problem lesson video linked in the description. Essentially, that was a lesson where I went through a step-by-step process for breaking down word problems. If you have already watched that lesson, please keep watching. Okay guys, let's now look at the first question. As with any word problem, make sure you read the question carefully before you do anything, so pause the video here and take a second to understand what's happening in the question. Okay, now that you've had a chance to read the question, let's go through it and find out what the keywords are. So, Alice has $120. She buys 3 books for $15 each and 2 pens for $3 each. How much money does she have left? Okay, before we go anywhere, let's just dissect the question. So Alice has got $120 in total. She buys 3 books, and they each cost $15. She also buys 2 pens, which are $3 each. And what's the question asking us to figure out? How much money she's going to have left over. Okay, so first of all, let's calculate how much the books are going to cost us, right? So we know that it's 3 books. How much is each book? $15. So instantly in your head, you should think of 3 groups of 15, which you can do 2 ways. You can add 15 3 times, or it's a lot quicker if you do a multiplication. So 3 times 5 gives us 15. 3 times 1 gives us 3, plus 1 gives us 4. So now we know that the books by themselves cost $45. Now, is Alice only buying books? No. She's also buying pens. And we know she's buying 2 pens. And they're each $3, which gives us 2 times 3, which is 6. Now, how much does she spend in total? To figure that out, we need to add how much she spent on the books plus how much she spent on the pens, which is $45 plus $6 gives us 51. What a lot of students do here is they go, oh, this is the answer. And they forget that the question's actually not asking us about how much she spent. The question's asking us about how much she's got left over. So to figure that out, we know that we've got $120 to start off with. How much did we spend? Whenever we're spending, we're reducing or we're taking away, which means we're taking 51 away, right? And just make sure when you're doing your working out, you just write it so that it's easy for you to work out like this. So we can't take 1 from 0, so we borrow from our neighbor. This becomes 10. 10 take away 1 is 9. Because we borrowed, this has to become 1. We can't take away 5 from 1, so we borrow from our neighbor again. Neighbor becomes 0. This becomes 11. 11 take away 5 is 6. So how much money is left over? $69. Again, make sure you've got your units whenever you write your answer down. Okay, let's move on to the next question. So, question number 2. As always, pause the video here and take a second to understand what's going on in the question. Okay, now that you've had a chance to read over the question, let's go through it and find out what our keywords are. Okay, a classroom has 6 rows of chairs. Each row has 8 chairs. How many chairs are there in total? Okay, 2 parts to this question, right? The first sentence kind of tells us how the classroom's set up. So we know that we've got 6 rows, right? So something like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah? We've got 6 rows like this, and each of the rows has 8 chairs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So if you've got a row like this, each row has 8 chairs. Sometimes it's just easier to draw a little diagram that works for you. It doesn't have to be the neatest diagram, as long as it makes sense to you, and it's, something for you to visualize what's going on. So there's, 2 ways to do this, right? You can do addition or multiplication. Because essentially, if we think of each row as like one group has 8 chairs. And how many groups do we have? 6. So this is almost like saying 6 groups of 8. And there's 2 ways to do it. The quicker way to do it is just to do a simple multiplication. In fact, if we know your 6 times tables, they should be pretty easy. 6 times 8 gives us 48. But let's say, you're not sure, you haven't learned your tables up to the 6 times just yet, or you're not too sure and you want to check your answer, you can do an addition. So you can think of this like 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. Remember, it's 6 groups of 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 6 8s there. 8 plus 8 is 16. We've got another group of 8 plus 8, so it's 16. Another group here. So it's 16 plus 16 plus 16, which you can write down like this. Let's make some space for me to show you that. Okay, 6 plus 6 gives us 12. 12 plus 6 gives us 18. Put the 8 down, carry the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so as you can see, you get the same answer either way. It could be if you've got enough time, it could be another way to check your answer. As always, when we're writing our answer down, it should have units. There we go. Question number 3. Again, take a second to read over the question and understand what's going on. Okay, now that you've had a chance to read through the question, let's go through it and highlight keywords. A pizza has 12 slices. If 5 pizzas are ordered, how many slices of pizza are there in total? So, you know that each pizza has 12 slices, right? So, pizza, and your working out might look a bit different. You might, write it out differently. But what's important is you get to the same answer at the end. And we know that we need to order 5 pizzas, right? And we're figuring out how many slices that is, right? When we look at this, when we set it out like this, it could also be a little bit easier for you to understand what's going on. So let's find out what the relationship is, right? To go from 1 to 5, and when we're doing this, make sure you stick just to multiplication. To go from 1 to 5, we're multiplying by 5. So to balance that out, we need to multiply this side by 5, right? So to get to the answer, we know we have to do 12 times 5, which gives us 60. And our units are 60 slices. Again, let's say for some reason, you don't know your 12 times tables, you can do your 5 times tables, right? Because 12 times 5 is the same as 5 times 12. So you can just easily count by 5s until you get to the 12th kind of position, which means you'll get 60 at the end. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Okay, question number 4. As always, take a second, pause the video here to read the question and understand what's going on. Okay, now that you've had a chance to read through the question, let's go through and find what our key pieces of information are. The rainfall in a city in January was 90 millimeters. In February, it was 120 millimeters. How much more rainfall was there in February than in January? Okay, interesting terms being used here. So when we think about what the question's asking us to figure out, much more and words like than should make you instantly think of like a comparison. We're comparing two things. And if someone's asking us how much more something is, it means one particular, like for example, the rainfall in January is lower than the rainfall in February. So, let's think of a different example. If this is a bit confusing, let's say they're selling chocolates, right? They're selling chocolate A for $5 and they're selling chocolate B for $3. How much more is chocolate A going to be? It's going to be $2 more than chocolate B, right? So it's very similar to this. So to make it kind of simpler, sometimes when we're reading a word problem, because all the information's kind of together, it can be a bit confusing. So let's just jot it down for ourselves. When we're doing notes, you don't actually have to write down January as a whole. You can just go Jan and go 90 millimeters. Remember, these are notes for yourself. You're not getting marked on your notes. So as long as your notes make sense to you and you can cut down on time, it works for you. Then it's great. So in Feb, we've got 120 millimeters. What's the question asking us? How much more rainfall was there in February than January? So to figure out how much more, just need to do simple subtraction. So it's 120, take away 90, which means 12, take away 9, right? Should give you 3. So your answer is 30 millimeters. Cool. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, question number 5, the last question for this session. Again, pause the video here and take a second to read the question and understand what's going on. Okay, now that you've had a chance to read over the question, let's go through it and find out what all the key information is. Okay, a library has 150 books. If 30 of them are fiction and the rest are non-fiction, how many non-fiction books are there? Okay, where are we? We're in a library and we know that the library has 150 books in total, yeah? What do we know? We know that we've got fiction and non-fiction books, right? We know that we've got how many fiction? We know we've got 30 books. And what's the question asking us to figure out? How many non-fiction books we've got there. Key piece of information in this question is this. The rest, so all the other books outside of the fiction books, So everything else that's left over is, are non-fiction books, right? So if that's the case, what do we need to do? Simple subtraction, which is 150, take away 30, 0 take away 0 is 0, 5 take away 3 is 2, and you just bring the 1 down. So what's our answer? Equals 120 books. Cool.
I hope this helped you tackle word problems like a pro. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more lessons. See you in the next video.